Hi everybody, it's Claire with another art journal video. Today I'm playing in the Blue Media Edition journal from Dina Wakley on the watercolour paper. It's quite textured paper and it works better often if it's got a layer of gesso on, so I'm just adding some gesso onto the page to get started, and then I'm sticking some collage paper in, but I'm using white gesso to stick it in place. So the reason I'm doing this is because I wanted some interest in the background, but I didn't want it to be too much in the foreground. So by sticking it down with the white gesso, it pushes it away a little bit, but as you can see, it still shows through a little. Once the gesso's dry, these pieces will be stuck in place. So it's quite a good way to get some interest down without it being too much in your face. Then I'm using the large brush and I'm going in with some black and white. I'm just swiping my brush through that paint so that I've got a bit of both colours on my brush. This is something that I have done before. It's not my idea, it's something that Dina Wakley has shown in some of her demos. It's a brilliant way to get colour onto your page because you don't have a great deal of control about where the colours go, and it creates a really nice look. Then I just did some marks with my brush on the background too. So next I'm going in with Elephant, and I'm using the Squoval stencil and just adding some Squoval stenciling onto the background too, just to break up that very black start that we've made. Doing the same things on both pages too. So unusually for me, I have left some white space on this page. I don't remember whether it stays there. I think it might do. This is a stencil called Shape Mashup. This is an older one from Dina Wakley. So I'm just using the similar shape. So it's the Squovals on there again, but the little ones. And then I'm using Medieval here, which is a silvery colour, and just adding some of these small squares onto the background too. So very much in a monochromatic style at the minute, with the colours sort of greys, blacks and whites, can be quite striking. So then I'm going to use some magazine images just to add those onto my page for my focal points, and a couple of ladies. It's the same lady, one is a close-up and a figure as well. And then these are some handmade stamps that I've made. You can get a download of this on my website if you sign up to my website at artjournallove.com and become a member. There are some free downloads on there that you can grab for yourselves, and there are also all sorts of other things on my website. Like you can buy ScrapFX products, and you can buy some of my classes on there too. So just kind of auditioning things and seeing where they're going to work. Cutting out more of these handmade stamps, and I'm going to be popping those onto the page too. Just kind of feeling that it wasn't quite working, so just playing around a little bit with where those shapes are going to go. And when I was happy, then I'm sticking them in place. I'm just using an ordinary glue stick to stick all these things down. And then I'm going in using an ordinary gel pen. It is a Signo, but it's a black one. And I'm just adding some more doodling and mark making onto some of these stamped images. Then I'm just adding a line for that lady to be standing on so she isn't floating in the air. And I'm using a white Posca pen and going in and adding some more mark making onto the page. Next, the lady on the left is going to have a speech bubble, so she's going to be saying something. So I've just cut out a speech bubble from white print paper and I'm sticking that in place. Next I'm going to be using some rub-on letters from Art by Marlene. It's from her Essentials range. They are a brilliant way to add text onto your journal pages. I love them. You can mash up the fonts that are in there and mix them up and add different ones together. So I've got quite a collection of them, and obviously there are letters that get used up much more quickly than other ones, but you know, because you can mix them up, it's very easy to just add a handwritten letter in, and it would still work. If you had run out of the other rub-on ones, it wouldn't really matter. So you can see there's lots of different styles of letters of those two. These kind of things are easy to pick up from other places too. There are lots of other companies that do rub-on letters. Something that's nice to have in your stash. So that's my text for that lady. That's what she's saying. This journal page was inspired by rude people. We've all met them, haven't we? And I guess maybe occasionally we might all have been a little bit rude when we shouldn't have been, but you know, yeah, I'd had a day where I had some contact with some very rude people and it just annoyed me a little bit. So let's journal it out. That's one of the great things that journaling is good for, just resetting. So, and then some handwritten text on the page too, which I'm gone in using a black Posca pen, and then I often go in and just add more depth to the letters as well. And then once I've done that, I'm going in with the Signo Uniball and just adding what would have been like a drop shadow onto those letters too. And then last of all, I'm just adding some mark making onto the page using my signature dots, just to ground those images that are on the outside of the page, using the large Posca pen and then going in with a smaller pen just to add some finer dots too. And that is pretty much about it really. So a very monochromatic page, and this is one of the great things. Art journaling is really good for journaling things out that are on your mind or bothering you or just have annoyed you. That's what this page was. So I hope you've enjoyed this very monochromatic page with, I know, look, it's still got white space there too. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.